All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome. It's Friday. It's 4 p.m. Pacific, a little after 4 p.m. Pacific. Let's do some Pathfinder Friday. Today, we are going to kind of do a good preview of the AP, the very first AP for Pathfinder 2nd Edition that's going to be coming out in August for Gen Con. And we're hoping it's going to be relatively spoiler-free, so for the most part, you can probably relax a little bit, but there might be some things that if you really dig down deep and find some meanings and listen to all this stuff, you might have a little bit of a spoiler, but we're going to try to avoid that as much as possible. That's our goal. To do that, to go through all of this thing called the Age of Ashes, I think I said that already. If not, it's called the Age of Ashes. We've got James in the house. James,
hey,
welcome back. It's good to have you as always.
Hey.
Let's see.
Good to sneak off into the other part of the building and hide from my job.
Nobody will know you're here.
Oh, good.
Because they don't watch the show.
Oh, that's not true.
Well, anyway, welcome everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. It's good to see you. I hope you have a wonderful weekend in store for you. King of Rock, hello. King of Rock, actually, last time when you resubbed, I missed the notification, so I wanted to give you a special shout out. Thank you. You're tracking with us for like 7 months in a row now or something like that. It's crazy. So thank you for supporting the stream as long as you have. Steve, how are you? Good to see you. All right. We've got some talking to do about Age of Ashes.
Chatting.
So first of all, what kind of overview can we give about Age of Ashes? Now, I want to say we showed an image of the cover when we did our big show with Eric.
Right.
When we went through the product lineup.
Right.
And I found out later, I was trying to make sure that all of those images were up to date. In fact, we started late because there was one image I needed to get up to date and all of that sort of thing. And then I found out later that the cover I showed for Hell Knight Hill, that's a mock-up.
Yeah, we just recently got the cover in, and the cover is not yet built, but we do have the cover images here that we're going to be showing off here in a little bit.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So let's start with an overview.
Yeah.
And we've got images to show, and we're pretty sure that the images we have not been seen anywhere.
Yeah, I don't think we've shown them off publicly yet. So here's a bunch of new stuff.
So kind of cool. Cool. So do we want to start with the first image and we'll just jump in from there?
Yeah,
or
let's
we
just throw. This is the background image. So we've got Kira and Mauricio fighting against a undead Hell Knight.
Such a good image.
Yeah.
Such a great image.
Yeah.
I think that with there's so much action happening right now. Like it just comes across in that image so well, and it's always fun to see some of those iconics fighting.
Yep.
I like that.
Yeah, we generally try to show their moves off on the covers here.
And so again, just to recap, we're going over Age of Ashes, and this is the cover. This is what's going to be the cover.
Well, this is we have for all of our adventure paths. We have like an image and then a character. We'll be showing the character on this cover off later on in the show. But yeah. That's the cover image for the first one. So I don't think we've actually even mentioned the titles or authors of these yet. So I can do that right now. I've got here this little document here. It's about 25,000 words. This is an outline for an adventure path, and they're longer, about the same size overall as like a 32-page adventure. So they're pretty hefty things. I have this here in case I forget something or whatever.
What sort of information do we find in that?
In the outline, this is everything that anybody that we want to hire to write one of the adventures. This has got outlines for all 6 adventures, all of the back matter articles, all of the history, all of the behind the scenes, like here's what you need to do to read up on, timelines for everything, cover orders for all of them, what new monsters are in each volume. It's pretty beefy.
Lori 7x3 is asking if you can show that closer to the camera.
Yeah, here.
there it is.
Oh wait, that's not the word side.
Slowly
the
turn
words
the pages. So essentially, we're talking about maybe having a few spoilers with the images and stuff like that. But that document has everything.
Yeah, there's everything.
From
There's
front to back.
here.
That is 6 adventure path installments all the way out to the end.
Yep.
And so if somebody were to come in, so that is something that has to get generated before they even start assigning.
Yeah, this is the first thing that gets written. Usually, whoever's running the event, I wrote this thing built on, and we don't start from scratch. We build off of like the previous one and the previous one and previous one. So.
Right.
But yeah, it takes about a month to get the whole adventure path outline done.
It's interesting.
Yeah, most of that time is like trying to come up with titles that aren't stupid.
Well, speaking of that, since you brought it up, do we want to go through all 6
of
I
can
the
go through real quick.
The names and who wrote them?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to give away too much of the plot line of Age of Ashes, but the basic idea is that you start the adventure in the small town of Breach Hill. And I think we got a picture of Breach Hill, the opening. Yeah, not that. There we go.
There it is.
So that's Breach Hill. One of its most distinguishing like skyline features is it's got these big water towers in the middle of town that right there on the river that they keep everything all ready for people to drink and all that. So, but it gives it one of the things we try to do whenever we make up a town is we try to figure out something that is identifiable and iconic and interesting looking, and having these big water towers is a great thing for it.
It really sets the mood.
Yeah.
It looks like a nice town.
That's the town that your player characters will either have grown up in or will be visiting. That's where the whole thing starts.
Okay.
And it starts out basically with the player characters are adventurers, and there's this tradition in Breach Hill where the town elders basically every month they have this big meeting where it's like if there's any jobs for adventurers to take care of and happen, and they basically have like a recruitment drive there, and your player characters are among the adventurers who are recruited.
So it's like a job fair for adventurers.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the job on the block is up the hill from Breach Hill is this place, this hill, Hell Knight Hill. And at the top of that hill is this old abandoned Hell Knight Citadel, Citadel Altarian, which is where the Order of the Nail started before they moved to Varissia.
Oh, I gotcha.
So it's an abandoned Hell Knight Citadel.
Okay.
And just recently, these fires started like burning on top of the central tower of the Citadel, and the town's local goblin ambassador is like, oh, my goblin friends are up there. That's the signal fire. Help, help, help. So the goblins who live in this old castle, something has happened to them, and the player characters have to go try to figure out what's going on. And that's basically the what kicks things off with Hell Knight Hill. Hell Knight Hill is written by Amanda Hammond. And Amanda Hammond. I just
those are 2 names in there.
Amanda. So Amanda wrote this adventure and created Breach Hill, and basically wrote most of this first volume. And it's pretty cool. It's basically at its core, it's explore the old creepy castle. Pardon me. One of the elements that I wanted to do in this adventure also is that this is where we get a little bit into the spoilers, but by the end of this first adventure, it's very likely your player characters are going to be in charge of this castle, that they're going to own this old castle.
Yeah.
And throughout the rest of the adventure path, you're going to be building it up and repairing it and making it your home base of operations.
Okay.
Because inside the castle, there's a plot device that allows you to go to all of the other locations in the adventure as it goes on.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I don't want to, again, try not to get too spoilerific.
Yeah.
So going through the adventures real quick. The first one is called Hell Knight Hill by Amanda. The second one is called Cult of Cinders.
Okay.
Cult of Cinders is by Eleanor Farron.
Nice.
And in that one, you're going up against this creepy cult of dragon worshipping kind of just maniacs who are up to no good. They want to burn the world basically, and you gotta see what they're up to.
Okay.
The third adventure is called Tomorrow Must Burn, and that's kind of like this cult is really like all about like you burn it all down. So the idea is like Tomorrow Must Burn. You're starting to get up into these guys and starting to involve yourself with this mysterious group called the Scarlet Triad.
Okay.
Which is they're slavers, they're maybe cultists, they're all around bad people, and you are starting to realize that this conspiracy is something that you're going up against them. And they're a brand new group, so I can mention their name and all of that without spoiling anything. Yeah.
Okay.
Tomorrow Must Burn is written by Ron Lundeen.
Okay.
That's part 3. Part 4 is it's gone through some late title changes, but we settled on Fires of the Haunted City, I think, is its title. And
not ominous at all.
Linda Zayas Palmer is writing that one.
Oh, nice.
So we also, I'll get to something else real quick. So that's part 4, and there's fires, there's a haunted city. There's a lot of fire stuff going on in Age of Ashes, as you've seen.
Okay.
Part 5 is Against the Scarlet Triad. That's the adventure where it's like this mysterious group is really coming to a fore there, and that one's written by John Compton.
Okay.
And the very last volume, the very last adventure is called Broken Promises, and that's written by Luis Liza.
Nice.
The entire adventure path basically is sort of like this. You're going all over the inner sea region. There's I don't want to spoil all of the locations you go to, but you're going to a couple of locations in Garund, a few locations in Avestan, kind of all over the map, basically. You'll be visiting jungles and desertish regions and like more temperate areas, and you're going for one into the Darklands below. And
oh, nice.
So it's kind of all over the place. I'm not going to tell you which directions everything goes.
So it opens the map,
yeah,
essentially.
Yeah, well, it doesn't. It sprawls across the map. It's a lot of places we've been to before.
I think in terms of Zelda.
Yeah, fair enough.
You're just making the map fill in.
One of the things I want to do in making this adventure path is, since it is the first for second edition, I wanted to revisit some of the locations we've been before, but revisit some locations we've never been before. Breach Hill is a brand new place. It's in Isgir. We haven't done much in Isgir. I also wanted to basically, looking at the core rules, we've got 6 ancestries. We've got goblins, humans, elves, dwarves, halflings, and gnomes are the 6 main. There's also half-orcs and half-elves, but those are sort of... we've got these 6 ancestries that I wanted to focus our 6 volumes on.
Okay.
So, like, there's an elf-themed one, there's a halfling-themed adventure, there's a dwarf-themed adventure, there's a gnome-themed adventure, there's a goblin-themed adventure, there's a human-themed adventure. So regardless of which ancestry your character is, there's going to be some tie-ins and some elements for you to explore there, which is pretty cool.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
So getting back to the beginning of this thing, you're at a job fair.
Yep.
For adventurers.
Yep.
Our party is there. Our PCs are at this thing looking to get a job.
Yep.
We know that something is happening with this mysterious manor that was abandoned. Fires are happening.
Yep.
Goblin there are people up there. My family or whatever's up there. So that's kind of those are all happening at the beginning.
Yes.
Steve, thank you so much, pal. It's very nice of you to do. So then, I assume these end up all coming together?
Yes. Yes.
The mayor, who's the goblin, I'm assuming hires them.
Yeah, the town council hires them. The goblins they talk to is basically kind of an ambassador. It's one of the things too. It's like, as people know, goblin is one of the core ancestries now in the new rules. So what we wanted to do with this adventure is, just as we reinvented goblins way back when in Pathfinder 1 with Burnt Offerings, basically taking what up to that point was kind of like a generic, nobody really cared about goblins. They were just speed bumps.
Okay.
And we made them really key characters in our setting with Burnt Offerings. So in the second edition one, we wanted to come back to these goblins because they're so iconic for Paizo, but show them in a different light. That these guys are like, they're still crazy little kind of jerks and whatever, but they can be good guys. They can be good people too. And the goblins in this adventure path are potentially friends and allies.
Okay. So they actually they're going to party up with them possibly and get advice from them and all of that sort of thing.
I don't know if you want to take advice from a goblin.
Whether you take it or not, that's totally different.
Those burn really well, especially if you soak it in oil and then eat it. So adventure paths themselves are going to basically stay the same format. It's going to, have like the big adventure is going to be the bulk of it, and then we're going to have like support articles in the back. One of the things that we're really excited about with this new edition is we're going to have something called the Adventure Toolbox in each one.
Okay.
And that sort of takes the place of the bestiary that we've had in the previous adventure paths. Adventure Toolbox is still mostly going to be bestiary. It's going to have a bunch of new monsters in every volume. I think we got a picture of one of the new monsters in here too. Yeah, that guy.
Look at that.
I think that's a Tixatog.
a Tixatog.
Tixatog. He talks. You can talk to this one.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's sort of a weirdo.
He's all spindly and
crickety. He's like clapping. He's like, yay!
It does look like he's clapping.
New friends! Are you flavorful, friends?
He's so happy. He's got a clap.
Yeah. So we'll have new monsters in every adventure path in the Adventure Toolbox, but we'll also have things like new magic items, new spells, new feats, new class options, new archetypes, things that your players can earn by going through this adventure, you know, and then the idea is like by playing certain adventure paths at the end, you can look at what your characters have and their options and all that, and you'll be able to look at your character and say, you're an Age of Ashes character, you're a Mummy's Mask character, you're a Rise of the Runelords character, because you will have earned these special, you know, abilities and options as you go.
Right. Okay.
The first couple of adventure toolboxes are really focused. Like the first volume, for example, is mostly monsters, and it's got a sort of a GM's background. Just as we do a player's guide for all of these things, where a player can grab a free download and look through a player's guide to an adventure path and kind of know what kind of character to build. The adventure toolbox at the start of every volume, at the start of every adventure path, will have sort of a GM's guide. You know, it'll give you background and timeline. A lot of the information we've got in here will be in there. And then we'll also have like Gazetteer articles and Monster Ecology articles and Deity articles and just the same sort of back matter stuff we've had in Adventures all along.
Okay. And do we expect that the 6 volume APs will go from level 1 to 20?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's one of the things that was a really important thing for me when we were working on second editions. However we do this experience progression, we need to be able to go from first level to 20th level in a 6-part adventure path. And I think we're going to be able to do that. I'm pretty sure. I'm right now about done developing the second adventure, Eleanor's Adventure. Okay. And it's still on schedule. So, you know, to get people
pacing out.
It's pacing out at the right pace. Whether or not every one of these adventure paths going forward is a first through 20th level, I don't know. We might do one that goes slower. We're still kind of feeling things out. But at the start here, for at least the first couple, we're going to be going first to 20th level.
Okay. So
and not like you finish the last encounter and get 20th level. You need to hit 20th level before you're done with the campaign, because you want to be able to use your capstone stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. You want to be able to enjoy it a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha. That is really cool. Yeah. I have to admit, I don't think I've ever gotten one of my Pathfinder characters up to 20.
Yeah,
I don't think that's ever happened.
The closest I've gotten to 20th level is my friend Jason Nelson, who runs Legendary Games, was running a post-apocalyptic Forgotten Realms campaign. And my character there, Shenson, who I put on the cover of Pathfinder 100. I think I got to 18th or 19th level. I didn't quite make it.
Okay, all right.
So that was like 4 years of playing. So.
I know. Yeah, I'm not. I think 15 is probably the highest I've gotten at 14.
I've certainly run campaigns where player characters get to 20, 21st. I did a Savage Tide back in the day.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, Jason Nelson again got thrown into the Demogorgon, chucked him into the negative material plane after killing him. It was pretty rad.
Let me ask you this really quick, just at the beginning. What do we think about will this be sanctioned for Pathfinder Society play and all of that sort of thing?
I'm not sure. Okay. Pathfinder Society is so go. I mean, they've got such a relentless schedule of trying to get all of the scenarios and everything done, especially when you get to like Gen Con or PaizoCon, where they're launching specials. There's a lot of really cool stuff set up to kick off the second edition Pathfinder Society. I hope that we get these things sanctioned as soon as possible. That's really kind of not in my purview.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
I basically will sit in my office and maybe like sanction it, and people are like, shut up, Jacobs.
We have a pneumatic tube. That's the sanctioning tube, and we just.
I'm old enough to remember a store that still used those.
I remember
back in my day, we had
fire
and the wheel.
So cool.
Anyway,
but I was also really impressed with the when you'd go to the drive-up bank teller and they had that little tube that comes out and it would go to the ground and come back up. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, why aren't those big enough for us to go?
Before we jump back into more of Age of Ashes,
so
Steve and some folks are asking about the idea of following the shorter adventure path model that kind of popped up in Starfinder.
Right.
Is that something that you think you would see Pathfinder playing around with?
That was an experiment that we did with Starfinder. Obviously, the first Starfinder adventure path goes to 6. Then we followed that up with 2 3-part ones. Before we really, it takes a while for us to get feedback from people. Let us know actually if you like those 3-part adventure paths. Honestly, we're still looking at those. For the first couple of Pathfinder adventure paths, we're sticking with the 6-part ones. But there's we could do different sizes or something like that.
Okay.
We are kind of readjusting
It's probably one of those things where it's like we're not doing it,
right.
but if people really want it, then let's try it.
At this point, since we've barely been able to do full 1st to 20th level adventure paths ever, we want to get a couple of those out there first.
Absolutely,
and that certainly will take 6 volumes. We can't do that in anything less than 6.
Okay. And then, let's get back into House on Hell Knight Hill?
Just Hell Knight Hill.
Just Hell Knight Hill.
Hell Knight Hill.
Why do I keep wanting to call House on Hell? I guess because it sounds like another game that we've all played a lot.
Yeah, that's a fun game. That's like a Thanksgiving tradition where I get killed by the friggin' animated bureaus or whatever.
It's true.
Cult in the basement.
Let's see. So, so getting back into this. And again, trying to stay spoiler free as much as we can. What would we say is the impetus for part 1? Because we imagine that's going to be having to do with clearing out the house or something like that. That's what they're ostensibly being hired for or something.
Right. But what's the whole storyline?
Yeah.
So again, I don't want to spoil too much, but one of the things that people have talked about before in all of our adventure paths is how we handle dragons. We've often had dragons show up as like they're the big bosses of the 5th part, or they're the helpers of the main boss in the final part. We've never done an adventure path where a dragon is the big bad end guy. And that's what we're going to do this time.
Okay.
So Age of Ashes is about a bad dragon. It's also about a dragon that is there's like this whole idea of like dragon storms, basically. Back during Earthfall, there were all of these like devastations when the meteors came in and brought about the Age of Darkness. The original Age of Ashes is much more small sort of metaphor of like this certain dragon that caused a lot of devastation. So it's going to go back into the timeline a bit. And then even more recently, like we've got the next image coming up. Yeah, that's a volcano. That's not just any volcano. That's Droskar's Crag, which is one of the largest volcanoes in our campaign setting.
Okay.
The eruption of Droskar's Crag plays into the history of this adventure path in a way that people, I think, are going to be pretty delighted with. I'm not going to spoil it because there's some really cool plot twists in here that the way they play out really will depend on your party.
Okay.
How they interact with things and the choices they make, etc. There's definitely a bad dragon. The main bad dragon of this thing is something that your party is going to be facing off against. But there's not just one dragon.
Okay.
There's several dragons throughout this entire adventure path.
Is it a dragon party?
No, it's not a dragon party.
Dragons everywhere.
Damn.
All the way down. Just dragons.
Yeah. There's, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's at least 4 significant named dragons in this adventure path.
Wow. Okay.
And they've all got agendas and plots and shenanigans going on. Some of them might be friendly. Mm-hmm. Some of them might not be friendly. The ones you think are friendly might not be friendly. The ones you think might not be friendly might actually be friendly.
There's dragon intrigue.
There's dragon intrigue. That's right. I mentioned this at the start of the show that we have every adventure path has a background image. We saw that earlier, Mauricio and Kira fighting the undead Hell Knight. Mm-hmm. But we also have a character that is like a major character in that story. And we've got, in this one, we've got this guy. That's not just any red dragon. That would be Dayhawk, the god of evil dragons and destruction. And Dayhawk is pretty much one of the main bad guys in this adventure path.
Yeah, that's okay.
So that's pretty significant.
So essentially, what it is things are happening. We're pulling out the stops.
And just in case we got that other one of Dayhawk doing his thing there.
Do we want to show that now?
Yeah, we might as well.
I was holding on to it.
Oh yeah, let's show it now.
Here we go.
So that's Dayhawk, and that's what an Age of Ashes might look like. It's Dayhawk, who's about the size of a city there, shooting Dragonstorm down onto some civilization. And it's like there's fire. And the idea of a Dragonstorm is that it's this primeval storm that has got like lightning shooting out of the skies and fire tornadoes coming down and like acid rain and like this swaths of frozen hail just and poison mists and everything like that. So think of all of the bad things that happens when dragons breathe on you. That's all coming out of this storm, because Dayhawk is basically the guy empowering this dragon storm.
So if it's not...
Dragonstorm was originally one of the first titles we thought of calling this adventure path, in fact, but we pulled away from that because that's sort of... There's a lot of things called Dragonstorms, like pinball machines and video games and novels and all sorts of stuff.
It's a good combo of words.
They
sound good together, so that makes sense.
So really what you're trying to do is you're trying to stop an Age of Ashes. Dayhawk is doing stuff. Fans of Pathfinder know that Dayhawk is one of the actual deities of the setting. So they don't really have stats. You can't really kill a god. But you can fight against a god. So you can go against their workers, their agents on the planets of Galera or whatever. So yeah, it's not just the cult of Dayhawk that is troublemaking. There's also other stuff. But so that's sort of, I guess, a spoiler to a certain extent. You don't really know that Dayhawk stuff is involved immediately in the first adventure.
Right.
But he's on the cover.
It's there.
So he's there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's so amazing.
Yeah, Dayhawk.
That is really cool.
It's going to be fun. One of the things that I'm really excited about this, since there's Dayhawk, also there's going to have his antithesis in our setting is Apsu, who's the god of good dragons. Apsu is Dayhawk's father, I believe.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And the idea is basically that Dayhawk and Apsu were among many of the deities who helped imprison Rovagug ages ago. Nice. And then Dayhawk's like, oh, this is great. I'm going to stay here and wreck things. And Apsu's like, nope, no, you're not. If you ever come back here, I'll kick your bottom.
Family-friendly James.
Yeah, family-friendly Jacobs. And so Dayhawk's like, well, what if I sneak back and nobody notices?
Yeah.
And if something like Earthfall happens, nobody would notice if I like sneak in here and do a little bit of shenaniganry.
It's the idea you're only breaking the rules if you get caught.
Yeah.
I mean,
and nobody's caught him yet.
And nobody's caught him.
Yeah.
So that is look, pardon my language, that is one hell of a preview you just gave us. That is amazing.
Yeah, it's something I've
really
been excited about
this.
To be able to talk about with people. And again, there's more dragons than just Dayhawk in this adventure path. There's other characters and canny people who have been, listening to this show or know Galarian's setting and stuff, may be able to piece together some things. And it's not going to be a secret we're going to be able to keep beyond the very first volume. We're basically the adventure toolbox in the very first volume, Hell Knight Hill, lays it all out. And it's, there are certain dragons that are name dropped there as being significant parts of this adventure path that I don't want to spoil yet, but I really want to spoil.
I know. I don't want to spoil is taken out of context so many times. Because you don't want to, but really.
It's gonna, and it'll come out eventually. People will know. People will be talking about it all over the internet. But that doesn't mean that just because you know who this dragon is, you don't know what that dragon's role is in this whole swath of 6 adventures either. So it's pretty cool. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else we need to cover before we wrap up? Because we're done with the first part of the show. Perfectly timed.
Yay!
Yeah.
One thing I know people always ask about, and I've already meant this online. Whenever we do, and since we talk about the iconics, whenever we do an adventure path, we pick 4 iconics to basically be that stand-in for your player characters in that whole adventure path. And whenever we illustrate scenes from the adventure path or on the covers, we use those 4 iconics to kind of as proxy player characters. For this one, obviously you saw Kira and Mauricio on the cover.
Let's see that again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we're back down to 12 iconics once we go to 2nd edition, so we've only got that many to choose from. So I figured, why not, as kind of a nod to the original adventure path, Rise of the Runelords, let's go back to Valeros, Sione, Mauricio, and Kira. So they're the stars of Age of Ashes,
like the original 4.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. It's like poetry. It rhymes.
Yeah.
So anyway,
like that word that other word, orange and.
Purple,
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for that. That was great. That was a really good preview. I think that comes out August with the launch products
at Gen Con.
Yes, absolutely.
At Gen Con.
We're not rushing to try to get that finished or anything right now as we speak.
Yeah, like shipping like 1,000 pages or something. It's berserk.
The Fantastic Four, of course. That's great. It's branded. We didn't come.
Nobody
up
else
with
has
that.
used Fantastic Four.
We're not putting that on
right?
anything, but that's in chat for chat purposes. That's really good. I like that. All right, let me do a goodbye, and then we'll talk to the Twitch fam. Okay. All right, everybody. There we go. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you learned a lot. I am super excited about getting this AP out to the masses so you can finally play it. If you saw a particular image in today's show that you liked, talk about it down in the comments. I'll make sure James sees it. We'll laugh and high five over the best ones. If you like the video, give it a like and think about maybe subscribing to the channel. It helps us a lot. And if you'd like to join us right now, we're getting ready to start some chat with the Twitch family. If you'd like to join us for that sometime, we do this every Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific at twitch.tv/officialpaizo, and we'd love to have you. And in the meantime, for Paizo and for James Jacobs over here, and me, I'm your old buddy Dan. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you again next time. Bye.
Bye.